coming from? Because I saw on your timeline you were on another boat, and the boats be
Yeah.
boating. Where you
Yes.
been?
I like to mixing them up, but this
Mhm.
last time I was on Virgin Voyages,
Okay,
which
that's
is
cute.
like the new kid on the block in regards to cruising. They came in with the gut punch and they said we're gonna be adults only. So I hosted my first group cruise for Labor Day. And I did Virgin Voyages because I think it kind of fit what I always plan on stuff that I want to do. um
Yeah.
and offer it, like, the experience to other people. So I was like, you know what, I think this is the vibe. It needs to be adults only space, which it was interesting. Even though I booked the cruise a year and a half out, it was amazing how it was a full circle moment of
Mhm.
like actually needing that cruise when I took it. So it's just amazing how like life all works. But yep, Virgin Voyages Valiant Lady, which you haven't seen her. She has like cute little black mermaid on the front.
Wait a minute, hold on. We got an Ariel.
Yes,
We
yes.
got Ariel on the front. Okay, because
Mhm.
that's the one I like. The other one I grew up with her, but
She didn't
Lord have
represent
mercy.
you.
She didn't represent me at all. I like me a good bust down, like, the braids and everything.
Mhm.
But for those of you who are listening, my bad. I just went ahead and started a conversation. Welcome back to Coffee with Yvonne, a show for creatives and entrepreneurs. And this week on the show, I have a new guest with me. I actually met her at a YouTube event. And now you know how we do, people. I'm going to look into the camera for this one. You know how we do. We find each other. We find each other. So in our little group who found each other, we were having such a great chat. And Carlene is someone who not only does travel, but she does cruises. And I know that's something we love as a community because boots on the ground is all I heard all summer. And this week, I'm going to have her on the show to chat about her love of travel and also building community through content. So, Carlene, I do a tagline. You got to do it with me, okay?
Okay.
So, grab your coffee
Or
and let's chat. Yay! And Carly, I'm not gonna cap you. At
Mhm.
the time of recording this podcast, it's Friday, and we both work full time,
Yes.
so you know how it is. I found this little creamer
Mhm.
from Italy that got a little something, little
Okay.
something.
In there. Well, look,
Uh,
I feel like when you say I can be myself because
yeah.
I was editing. I'm off on Fridays.
Uh-huh.
I work long days to have my Fridays off. And this was what this was what was casually sitting on the side.
Her.
That's
Her.
water. This is
Uh,
wine. And you
if
need
you want
both.
the wine for the episode, girl, go ahead and drink the wine for the episode because
Okay.
we work hard.
Yes, we
Go
do.
ahead. Okay. PTO and everything. We earn our PTO around
We
here.
do. We do.
And audience, to make sure I give Carlene a proper introduction, I'm going to read her receipts, aka her bio. Carlene is a lifelong traveler and educator who turned her passion for traveling and teaching others into a growing community of traveling aficionados. The motto of her growing, yes, growing YouTube channel is I work a 9 to 5, but travel at the world as if I don't. Carlene effectively balances her career and her love for travel and has visited almost 41 countries.
Mhm.
41, not 4 plus 1, 41 countries, and taken 38 cruises, mostly solo. She shares those experiences as well as tips of her adventures weekly on her YouTube channel, See It with C, and hopes to motivate and encourage others to explore the world. And with that being said, welcome to Coffee with Yvonne, Carlene. Burr, 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 burr. Yay! Oh, I love that. And it's really cool to know that you've been to 41 countries and 38 cruises because travel is something I think as a community we're really leaning into
Yes.
a lot more, especially with our generation. You have millennials, Gen X, etc., who want to explore outside of their bubble.
Mhm.
And when you built See It With C into more than just travel videos, you built it into a personal brand and a growing community. When you first started, because it all has to start from somewhere, right?
Yes.
Did you imagine it becoming a platform, or was that something that just kind of grew naturally with your travels?
I think it grew naturally. The first iteration, honestly, was probably 2012-ish, when everybody was doing blogging. So, like what was it, the wiki site, whatever. And okay, and, look, it was called the Society. Like, what's the T on
Y
society?
I know,
And
uh-huh.
what I learned was it actually, like, it's interesting. It's all about timing and the information that you receive. So literally 2013-ish or so, 2014 or so, probably 2014, I was like doing this blog, and I would get behind in it because you like you gotta write, you gotta take pictures, and it's like, is this good enough? And one of my homegirls was like, you should do this thing called YouTube. And I looked and I was like, no, I'm not gonna be able to edit. I don't know what this is, you know. That literally planted a seed because although I didn't follow her instructions in 2014 or what have you, it stuck with me. I had to hear it like one more time from a friend during the pandemic who was like, I was in the house and I was traveling during the pandemic, but I was in the house and like he would like kind of come by, whatever, just to like peek and make sure, you all right.
Mhm.
And he'd be like, "Why you keep watching these random people travel?" He was like, "You travel. You can do this." So that was the second word that kind of like, okay, let me actually turn the camera on, which was weird because I was the friend in the friend group when I would travel with friends that was kind of like, I'm in the moment. I didn't want to have
Mm.
my phone out and doing all the extra things. And now I'm the person with my phone out doing all the extra things. All in the name of information sharing though, because like you mentioned, Yvonne, um, we are a generation where we now have access to, like, some of us grew up traveling, etc. But now we fully have the access to make certain things happen for ourselves, where it may or may not have been happening in our youth, or to a certain degree, and it's like, wait, there's a whole big world out there. And just basically showing someone else, like, here are some opportunities, here is what you can go here, help people decide, because
Mhm.
sometimes people only get that 1 or 2 trips a year, which is fine, and they're kinda like, "Okay, do I do the cruise or do I do the land base?" So, it's really just a platform to kinda share information and hopefully inspire others, but give people the information so that they can make an informed decision when they travel, so they can do, some of the things I messed up on. So, yeah, it started literally as a blog. 2 friends said, "You need to make this a YouTube," and then I finally turned the camera on, and it's been up from there.
And I love that, and let's go back into the fact that you had to hear it twice from the universe, because that was the universe way of sending the message to you that it was meant for you to put yourself out there in a positive way.
Mhm,
And speaking about the piece about traveling 1 to 2 times a year, that is a reality for a lot of people, because for me, I didn't start traveling until I didn't take my first plane ride until I was roughly 19.
mhm,
Um, my first international trip until I was in college, spring break, and my first time going to Europe, I didn't do that until 2019. Yeah, because travel itself was considered a luxury, right?
mhm,
While I grew up, it was in a middle class home. I was raised by my mom. Travel was still considered something that you had to save up for. And then you also have to think, when it comes to family vacations, Carlene, the nuclear family was considered more the dynamic where they had the deals and the specials, right? So if
mhm.
you lived in anything outside of that, it was
That's where
often
Jet
sometimes
to Holiday came from.
it was
Family of
like
4.
sometimes it was like too expensive just for a family of two, which was me and
Mhm,
my mom. And when I was looking at your videos, one of the things that inspired me is you give such a relatability in the content that you're creating. You're a Black woman who's traveling, who's not afraid to travel by herself. Can we talk a little bit more about where that hesitancy may come from, or that fear maybe about traveling solo? Like, where do you think that comes from as a Black woman?
yeah, and you hit on a lot of that because everything shows that we have to be in a group, we have to be with others, we're doing it with our family, and then all of a sudden it's like, wait, if I wait and don't go anywhere and wait for the group, like, I'm missing out on a life. I mean, a lot, and maybe a life.
Yeah.
That was maybe that was a Freudian slip, like, on some things. I similar to you, I think it was like 2011-ish or so. Realize actually I read Eat, Pray, Love. So I was one of those stereotypical women who read the book, started doing yoga. I thought I was gonna go to an ashram child. Now, you know what? That's a little too deep even for me. And I like a little, experience in life. But it really inspired me to like go and do things, just on your own. The whole Elizabeth Gilbert, she got a new book out, haven't read it yet. But like, she was basically a woman who was just like, you know what, I'm gonna go. She had a life instance, like I'm gonna go and look, and check things out and just do things on your own. So I realized, and I can't remember what age I was. I was in my 20s or so. So I was like, dang, I am missing out on a lot of the world because I was waiting for people to invite me to stuff.
Mm.
And the invites weren't happening, and I'm not like that, but I was like, I wanna see Paris, I wanna see Rome. And so literally I just said, you know what? I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this in my spring. I was at the time working at a school. I was gonna do this in my spring break. And at that time I used a travel company because I was just kind of like, I needed help with pulling the itinerary together, where to stay. And then, launched out on that first journey. And it was so interesting because I was at Dulles Airport, I had my passport, and I'm looking around, and all these like little kids from, Fairfax County Public Schools are are like, showing the stamps in their passport, and they're just like
Mm.
about to get on their first international flight. And that was like at that point, the first time flying over the Atlantic. Of course, first time in Europe by myself. And I just did it. And the beautiful part about it was like nothing fell apart. Nothing bad happened. It literally felt like I was just in DC with a whole bunch of French people.
Yep.
What you learn is the more that you do it, it becomes second nature. That it's almost like I wrote on Threads the other day. I was like, it's funny, I can go halfway across the world and not think twice. But if I could go to a barbecue, I'm a little more scared because it's like people expect you to be with somebody. It's kind of,
Yeah.
and I don't know where that comes from, this psyche of like, you can't just walk into a space by yourself. It automatically means that you're lonely. You don't have anyone, or that you have, particularly as a woman going to like a
Mhm.
restaurant, a hotel. It's like all of a sudden you have an ulterior motive that isn't just, I'm in this space by myself. So I think some of that fear comes with, am I going to have fun? Or are people going to think I'm crazy?
Right.
And what you will learn over time is that you'll have fun, you'll be okay at least, and that you aren't crazy, but you're just curious, traveler out there exploring the world.
And to your point, it took a lot of confidence to do that, right? Because going out of the country by yourself, I did that for the first time last year. I went back to Paris. So Paris, I agree, is a French DC, which is probably why I love Paris so much.
Hmm.
But I got asked that question a lot. Like, oh, are you by yourself? Oh, are you okay? And I'm sitting there having a ball. I
Hmm.
Carlene, I'm an only child on my mama's side. Okay.
Ooh. But it's probably being the only two. I think
It is.
that's a
It
bit of it too.
Yes, because I could entertain me
I love my
all
own
day
company.
long, all day long. And I think having that foundation, it gives a certain level of confidence because we don't need to be around people to be entertained. And we often find ourselves, well, I could say for myself, at peace with your own company,
Hmm.
you know? And that takes also building confidence over time because sometimes for only children, and this is just from a personal observation, they're either the type who needs to have like a lot of folks around them because they feel like they felt lonely as a child,
Hmm.
or it could be the opposite where you could be in the house for days or somewhere alone for days and you're like, oh yeah, you didn't hear from me. Oh, sorry, my bad.
I am that person. Like people, I love people, and I think I'm a people person. But and people like get worried about the introvert word. I literally get my energy from myself. So like
Hmm.
while I can do, if you see me like 2 consecutive days out doing a lot of socializing, I am literally, my batteries are literally drained that next day, and it's going to take 3 or 4 days to like come back. So don't, like, people like always think the introverts are the people who are like, oh my gosh, I'm scared. No, it's literally can also be us who love people to death. Like even the event that I met you, the YouTube creators, after that
Hmm.
event, I probably was in the house for a day or two, just
Yep.
coming back to myself because I was such a social butterfly during the event.
And that's what I was saying to you too, Carlene. Like before we got on the podcast interview, I did not look like this. I was taking a nap because I was trying to recharge.
Ooh, and I had to cut that nap short because I was like, you're going to be on time.
I was like, okay, girl, get out this Cowboy Carter tour hoodie. You got to get it together. Come on, girl. Come on. Take the bonnet off. You got to give Carlene some energy now. But it's just so interesting that, as only children, we share that similarity and also being creators and people who love travel. Now, when it comes to the marketing side of it, because, I'm a marketing girly, can we talk a bit more about travel content and why it's so popular in the space? Like, what do you think makes travel so marketable today?
I think travel is marketable for a couple of reasons, and hopefully I can hold both of them in my head at the same time. The first reason is people are literally trying to make a decision. So again, people are have like a $2,500, and they're like they don't want to mess it up. They're like,
Mhm.
okay, nobody wants to spend that amount of money and mess around and go have a terrible time. So some people are literally, particularly in the YouTube space and like Instagram and TikTok, etc. Like people are literally looking to see is whatever that they're about to invest in is their vibe, because some people can't afford to, not saying that every trip is perfect, but some people are like, look, this is going to be my vacation where I need to log off from the grid, and I'm not about to get on, end up at the party resort where I can't sleep at night, or end up on the one cruise ship that I can't, they're running up and down the hallway. So that's one part of it. People are literally trying to figure out, this is an investment in my time, my energy, my space, and I can't mess this up. Or there's a special event for myself or my partner or my loved ones. Like, what's going to be our vibe? So that's what makes travel like forever, in my opinion, marketable. Um,
Mm.
the other piece is that kind of whimsical detachment from the current reality. And I'm one of those people too. Like, I'll just, what does it look like to go to Maldives? I might not want to be on the airplane for 25, 30 hours to go to this beautiful location, but I can sit on my couch and travel to 5 or 6 different countries in the span of an hour or so. So I think that's kind of what makes the travel space, whether you're actually traveling or just watching it, or sometimes you're just planning on, keeping those bucket lists, whatever, those living list items of, okay, oh, that was cool. I'll make a note because whenever I'm there, I'm gonna, get to it. So that's why I think it's forever marketable, because it's going to be always somebody who's either looking to purchase, looking to escape, or collecting information.
And you're exactly right, because I see a lot more content creators who maybe lifestyle who are leaning into the travel, bucket. Like there's a thing with I think there's something about Disney. They had like a whole thing with content creators coming in to get the experiences at the parks and things like that, inviting their family, doing the Disney cruises, which was really cool. And what I like when I see travel, I love to see people who are from like, Black culture or diverse cultures experiencing it, because I want to hear what you have to say.
Even before I became a creator myself, like I remember typing into like YouTube, like I want to see a black travel couple. I want to see a black solo travel. I would be very specific and intentional about that. Now, not that I can't learn from other cultures, which I have. I remember one of my Morocco trip, one of the first couples I saw was Kara and Nate. Very different from me, Midwest white couple. Here I am, young black single woman, DC. But I still was able to learn how to travel through Morocco, watching them. But I would be very intentional. I just wanted to see, I don't know why, us. And it wasn't like, they're picking so many different experiences. I literally just wanted to see somebody like me just walking across the screen, not even
Mhm.
talking about the other elements, which are okay. What are going to be spots that are going to have our music, are going to have our food, that I don't have to worry about, or maybe can escape racism.
Mhm.
That's the thing. Or maybe I can, meet other people who are like me. That whole black expat thing, and a whole nother, like that's a whole thing too. So I definitely think like there is some intentionality about being a black creator, because there are people who will be like me sometimes. I'm like, you know what? I want to see a black cruiser right now.
Now, okay, let's think about moving along to like your YouTube channel, right? YouTube is not an easy space to grow in. I think people underestimate YouTube channels because they think, oh, all I gotta do is post a video and everyone's gonna watch it. That's not the case. People be fighting for their lives and then views and then subscribers. So when it comes to the strategy of how you have built your YouTube channel, can you please share how you grew your channel, and more specifically how you grew it while without spending a lot of money on advertising and things like that?
Yeah, I feel like I need to take bullet points. So how did I grow it? Was I know people say don't niche down, but I did. I did niche down because I am a traveler, period. But cruising is my hook, because the cruise community they're going to do the views. They're trying to figure out, again, at any given time in this world, there are like hundreds, I don't know. There are a bunch of cruise ships, and people are trying to figure out which one, to pop on. So literally somebody will, a lot of it's studying yourself, because knowing yourself, there's somebody else out there doing, or hundreds of thousands of people out there doing the exact same thing that you're doing. I
Mhm.
knew if I was sitting at home trying to figure out, wait, what's my family picked a cruise? What's this Carnival Mardi Gras ship? You know, and then it's like, okay, well, what am I going to do when I'm on board? What kind of room do I want? If I'm doing that as a consumer, I know more people are doing that same thing. So basically, I just kind of said, well, you know what? I'm going to start by being in the cruise space. I think when cruising had opened up, or back up after the, world.
The panty.
I was like, I'm not sure what you're allowed to call it, because I know YouTube will flag you if you say the C word, or the P word. It was a big deal when cruising opened up and people were getting hundreds of thousands of views. I probably came into the space a little late, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just and it was something I actually liked. So I was like, I'm gonna just kind of do a bunch of videos just on this first, and which was cruising. And then I slowly started infusing the other trips that I was doing. I will say though, still my hook, like, I can't do a bunch of videos just on my based vacations just yet.
Mm.
I have to sprinkle them in because literally my hook is cruising. That gets me the view. So you have to be kind of mindful of, I do think, I know there was it's always a bunch of, what is it called? Tips and stuff that are happening in the YouTube and creator space, but I do think the algorithm has to get to know you, and so you need that first 20 to 100 videos where it's just the same thing over and over and over again, the same keywords. And then the algorithms is like, oh, they're a cruiser, they're this. And then some creators, then you eventually get to the point that people will watch anything that you put out. I'm
Mhm.
not there yet. I'm hoping to get there, but there are some creators who I know they started cruising and now they can go to the New Orleans Jazz Festival and still get 100,000 views. If I go to New Orleans Jazz Festival, that's gonna be my vlog that gets my core 200, 400 people. So you want to kind of sprinkle in the, what's going to pull people, but then also I like that teaching element because I do want to show people that I'm more than, than cruising, and it's also like what I like to do, which I think makes it easy. Sometimes we are trying to create around things that you really don't care about. And again, before I even picked up the camera and started recording intentionally in, what was that, 21, 22,
Mhm.
I was already traveling and taking pictures of, those things. So it wasn't like I picked, I don't know, polishing my nails or something, like, or cooking, something that I don't, or cleaning. Like, oh my God, the cleaning girls, I love watching them. But if cleaning content were me, it would never. I would. So make sure you pick something that you don't mind. Sitting down, recording, filming is going to help you stick with it. And I genuinely like teaching people. And I generally like traveling, so it just makes it a little easier.
And let's take a step back. So you basically talked about how you started developing what I like to call your content umbrella, right?
Hmm.
So your main hook or your niche was your love of traveling and your ability to also bring your personality to the table. One that's very hard to do. Some folks, when they turn on the camera, they don't know how to translate who they are into this digital space. That's usually where the roadblock comes in, right? So now you have your love of travel and your personality coming into play. Then the first prong that I hear is now you're taking it even further where you're essentially your content cash cow. I just made that up, by the way. Your content cash cow is cruising. So cruising is where people are literally coming in organically to watch your content, coming in to learn more about you. And there's also an opportunity for you to expand. Like you said, your land travel is an area that you're building up. That's your next branch that's being built out, but it's not strong enough there yet. The branch that has the cruise is where your core audience is, and a sprinkle of them is coming over, but that's going to take a bit more time. And as you explained, there are creators who started out in one space and were able to expand, but to your point, built this strong enough here first where they could build additional tiers to keep their audience engaged. So the point that I'm making to the audience who's watching or listening on your favorite podcast platform, it's okay to build your structure and then keep building up from there and build slowly.
Mhm.
You don't have to do everything all at once. But to Carlene's point, make sure what you're doing you're passionate about. Like me, I could talk about marketing all day. Because I do. I talk about marketing all day. Marketing and creativity are two things that I love to talk about. So for me, it's not hard for me to do this because it's something that I'm passionate for. To Carlene's point, I'm not gonna come on here talking about painting my nails because I don't like to do that in my free time. I get my nails done, you know. You know what I mean?
They won't
So
get
when you
done. And
yeah,
which
so
happens with people's content. They
yes.
try to do something that's outside of their lane or range, and what happens is it doesn't get done.
It doesn't get done, and then you see that content go, they start out, Carlene, I'm not trying to be shady, but they start out and then you just see that content just start to slowly go down or just disappear in general because they weren't passionate about it. So if you're passionate about travel, marketing in my case, or cleaning and things like that, lean into your passions, but be consistent. The other thing we had to talk about too, Carlene, is your consistent storytelling, but also your consistent visual piece. I've noticed when you do your thumbnails for your videos, there's a consistent look and feel. How did you approach discovering that? Like, what made you decide this is the look that I'm going with for each of my videos?
Yeah, I think research and see what happens, honestly. I had those trial and errors. I'm such a numbers person, and I'm always in that back office of YouTube looking at the analytics. No more than 3 things that people are focusing on. And you wanna make sure that the words are one thing. I had to learn you wanna feature yourself. So, I went from sometimes being, like, tiny in the corner to, like, now I'm like, "Okay, let's stretch that thing out across the." But people also want to see like what the something about the feature of like the ship, etc. Some people now what I don't do a good job of, but some people can do an amazing job of it. Some people can really create those thumbnails that add a sense of mystery
Mhm.
or a hook in them. If you know how to do that, great. I am not that person. So I'm going to show my lovely face and this big old ship usually and the words. And those are usually my things for my thumbnail. Because right now while I would love to outsource, I think I watch and heard something like Mr. Beast. He spends like almost $15,000 per thumbnail, I think is what he said. But when you see his thumbnails and you see where he is, I don't got $15,000 to make a thumbnail yet. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
right now you're gonna get this little Canva, YouTube, and it's just literally put yourself, on it because people want to see who is it. Like I can't just put a cruise ship. Somebody might click it. Those are good for certain, information, but a lot of times it's like for like particularly for vlogging, people want to see you and what the thing is in some really clear text. And that usually will get you in the range until you can learn how to do all the fancy spins on your thumbnail. And then yeah, it I did a couple like that and I kept getting the views that I wanted. And I was like, okay, well, we're sticking with it.
See? See, and that consistency paid off because you were able to build your audience. And, going back to what you said about Canva, Canva is a really, really great resource for creators, no matter what industry you're in. Once you decide on what your look and feel is, so for Coffee with Yvonne digital audience and audience who watches on YouTube, if you notice, Coffee with Yvonne's color story is pink and white.
Mm.
That goes into the same color story for Pink Dollhouse Marketing, my business, because I wanted it to be consistent and feel like it was part of the overall story. Now, full transparency, Carlene, I ain't land on the thumbnails I use now overnight. That took a lot of trial and error
A
figuring it out.
Heavy on the error for me. Like there are
Yes.
some that I look and I'm like, oh, I know, I see why that didn't do. And again, like I want to eventually. There are some creators who literally, once you get that viewership, there are some creators who literally, because YouTube will automatically generate 3, thumbnails for you to choose from.
Mm-hmm.
There are some creators who can just literally click, oh, that one look cute, like, or they can just take a picture of themselves. They don't have to add nothing, and they're
Nothing.
still going to get that viewership. Not there yet, but like for the time being, feature yourself, feature whatever the product is, have some catchy text. And that should, and just be more mindful of, like YouTube will always have the length of the video stamp on the bottom right. So you might want to
Mm-hmm.
avoid that section. Making sure that, again, it's quality, it's clear. I only shoot with my cell phone. So, you don't have to, you invest in a lot of equipment as long as you got some decent light sound. And Canva will also again help you with those. Let's, brighten it up a notch, tone that
Mm-hmm.
down, erase that person out of it, and you got yourself a thumbnail. So
Yep.
yeah.
And you're very much right. Yeah, and also to your point when you mentioned about how YouTube does the selecting for you, as someone who from a creative standpoint, I prefer uploading my own image because sometimes YouTube give me the most awkward facial expressions. I'm like, yeah, like that's I don't want that. as the first thing you see about me.
They're gonna
And
be like, "Is she okay?"
right. And like even though it makes it doesn't have me as much on there, it does use the artwork from my podcast. It also puts less pressure on me to have to look perfect in every single thumbnail because that
Mhm,
comes with a lot of societal pressure when
mhm.
you're a creator. And more so, I want to get into your motto because your motto was something that stuck out to me that you always say on your social and your digital channels. Your motto about I work a 9 to 5, but I travel the world as if I don't is so relatable. How do you actually balance the demands of a full-time career while creating content and growing this digital community?
Yeah, I work with what I have. So I intentionally work 4 10-hour days to get Fridays off. Yes, for 10 whole hour days. And some days I'm like, "Why did you do that?" Like, halfway Tuesday this week is like, "Why do you do this to yourself?" But then I get a 3-day weekend, and so Fridays are my days for content creation. I literally lock myself in the house on Friday, and I'm producing a video because my published date is on Mondays. So that's kind of the flexibility that I have. And I like also Friday because like should I get distracted or it's a video that's taking a longer time for me to sit down, process, think about, have the energy to move through. I have Saturday and Sunday to still hit my target date of Monday. And I also pick Monday because again, use those YouTube studio analytics. I see for me every Monday between the bars of 6 to 9 p.m. That's when the bulk of my folks who watch my channel consistently are on YouTube or who are watching. So every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern time, there is either a new video premiere or a live stream. So they know every Monday. And it's funny now because I think I'm like, oh, I can just like not come on and like I finally got to a point people are like, "Where's the Monday meetup? Like, where's the video?" And I'm like, "Oh." So I would say two factors, but it also be some flexibility. For instance, another way that I do it is I pick up a lot of, if there's an opportunity that money is involved, I'm like, I'll usually say yes. So I teach on Monday evenings to provide me extra funds to travel with. So right now I'm kind of like personally working through while I try to do every Monday at 7 p.m. I have to now push it back an hour. But I communicate with my audience so they don't get that surprise factor or they don't think I disappeared on them. Hey, for the till December, the Monday meetup is 8 p.m. And even then I slipped up one time and came on a little earlier. I was like, oh, I'm home at 7:30. And they were like, you said not until 8, so try to pick those but all of that, even though it seems like a lot, is all within the days that I have. Right. It's hard for me to create in the middle of the week. I would love to get to at least to a space that I can like try to push out some shorts or something like that in the middle of the week. But I have to honor the fact that right now there is something that pays the bills. I have some foundational pay that I need to maintain. And so I use my extra time to create content. So Fridays are that designated day. So that's kind of how I balance. And then I'm very intentional with my leave. I try not to, oh, I wake up in the morning, I don't feel like going to work. No, 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 no. You need those hours with thee. Because you got to get on them cruise ships. So or those land-based vacations. So I'm very intentional about my leave, trying to stagger things across, the holiday. Like even my group trip is the whole like I call it the good gov getaway in the sense of like we're going to maximize these federal holidays because we get that extended weekend and you only got to take one day to help you see the world. So those are the kind of things that I think the most things are like taking all the opportunities to make some money so you can
Uh-huh.
because it's you creation it is expensive. Yes. there are subscriptions. I have business insurance. I'm paying, I don't know, the editing tool charges me either monthly or yearly. Pick your poison. So it adds up. So you want to take time to get all that extra money, be intentional about your time, and then just figure out a way that can be consistent in a way that doesn't overwhelm you. Really, the people are looking for you to be consistent. And I will say, if you can't do nothing else, even if it, and I have to, I can be a perfectionist. I have to literally, because what you don't want to do is if that algorithm kicks you out of your spot, baby, it is hard to build. I have seen people with hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of subscribers get into a bit of a production rut or what have you, and they have to get back into the game rebuilding. Now it might not be as bad. They'll still get, 1,000 views, etc. But it's not those, 100,000 views they used to get on per video. So just being I don't want to have to. I remember the space when I wasn't in the algorithm. I don't want to get back to there. So I'm like Monday,
Consistent.
every Monday.
Consistent.
Mhm.
And you're exactly right, because that is something that creators who have been successful from starting out independently, let me clarify, to moving into what I call the corporate creation space of being picked up by bigger production companies, etc., have always said, because they always get asked, what's the secret? What's the secret? Everyone says consistency,
Some of my
consistency.
people who are in my head are my mentors.
Who's that? Tell me who's in
Oh
your head,
yeah,
'cause it might be in
like
mine too. Go
yeah.
ahead.
I mean, I watch like a Rich and Jazz. I would say like there are a couple who I'm like they remind me of like consistency's sake. So I would say a Rich and Jazzy Life and Life Less TV for YouTube. They are channels that are over 100,000 subs, right?
Okay.
They both hit 100,000 at the same time. So when they hit 100,000, I was very locked into like, how did you get there? Just listening to their celebration videos. Before they got there, they were all like at least 7 years in the game.
Mm.
So another way that like I'm frequently like, when I don't feel like doing X, Y, Z, or I don't want to create consistently in my head, I see these visuals like in front of me who I have to remind myself, it took them 7 years to get there. You're only on year 3, Carlene, so being mindful of like those examples. Who are those examples out there in your niche that why emulate them? Not in the sense of like you're copying their stuff and stealing their jam. And I'm always very intentional of like, if I borrow something, I will tell people in a heartbeat, I borrowed that from this person. But when I literally was studying when they hit 100,000, those two channels, Life with Us TV and A Rich and Jazzy Life, both in the travel space, black creator and their couples, the thing that I really heard was like, this wasn't an overnight. And while they both put out videos that can hit tens of thousands and 100,000s, the key thing for them was they're both like, they hit that in their 7-8 year, mark. So
Mm.
it's like, don't think year one, oh my God, the people aren't watching. Dig into some of these people's stories. And there are people who, because I also appreciate that they have the numbers and they have the views. There are literally people who will have a viral short or something like
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
They'll get, a quick 100,000 views because a million people watch whatever. Those people don't come back. So you want, that's also why you need to hit a niche too, is like people will hit subscribe because they're like, oh, that was cool. But if it's something that they hit subscribe on that they don't watch all the time, YouTube snatches people back. If you want to support a channel, make sure you click on one of their videos and watch it every now and then. Because what happens is YouTube will go through your stuff and be like, oh, that person don't watch you, this person don't watch you, and snatch your subscribers back from you. What
Mhm.
also happen is if they weren't really into the niche, into the content that you create, and they just kind of like, oh, that was a funny video, that was a funny short, they won't come back to watch your channels. And the views is kind of what pays you. It's not really the subscribers. The subscribers helps to get the constant over and over, like people come back to you, but it's truly the views that are paying you.
Mhm.
So you'll see sometimes people will have hundreds of thousands of folks, and sometimes that opens themselves up to opportunities. So I'm not knocking that, but for me, for my monthly YouTube check, I know it's the views that pays me. So I want the views.
It's important that you know that too about the consistency one, because consistency over time is important too, right? Going viral, and I have talked about this before, going viral is great. Awesome. However, people forget going viral is also temporary. Once you reach your peak, there's always a drop. And if you don't nurture that new audience that's come in, that audience, like you said, is going to go away. What I recommend people doing, which I have done too, and I've gone like viral on TikTok, What I recommend people doing is introducing themselves and introducing what their content is about. So if you want to stay around, stay around. But sometimes the video that you went viral off of is not what you usually talk about anyway. The
That is
other thing, oh,
good.
go ahead,
No, I
Carlene.
was just saying that's good, and that's a great nugget that people are listening gonna wanna hear because, like, you do wanna go viral. I
Right.
love that nugget that you just dropped of, like, because 'cause I'm like, I'll be the person who I would probably go viral, and I'm like, "Oh my god, what to do?" So, I love that you said, introduce yourself and put that person to that piece of content. That's helpful.
Yeah, and then also too, the other thing you said about the views, right? Views for YouTube is associated with engagement.
Mhm.
Engagement looks different across different platforms. Engagement on Instagram, similarity TikTok are like, the number of shares, comments, etc. But YouTube is different. It's the views. If your audience is not engaged, you're not getting the actual engagement. It doesn't matter you have 20,000 subscribers if the views are not correlating with the subscribers. So making sure you're not just getting caught up in the number of subscribers, you're looking at, like you said, those analytics. The analytics, or as I like to say, the data tells the story. If
Yes.
you don't understand what the story is for your product, in this case, your YouTube channel, you don't understand what content you're creating that could impact the future of your content. And if you want to do it, create an actual business platform from it. So you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And I think creators just need to take the time to slow down, to give themselves grace, and also understand that it may take you 1 year, it may take you 7, but it doesn't mean that the work that was put into it is less effective because it took a little bit more time.
Mhm. That's good,
That's
girl.
it.
I almost put on my notepad.
Oh, thank you. I mean, sometimes I be dropping gems or whatever.
That was good.
Sometimes, you know. So, Carlene, as we wrap up this interview before we go into our sip and spill quickfire questions, where do you see, if we were like to have like a magic ball kind of thing, right?
Mhm.
Where do you see your community growing next? Are you imagining like in-person meetups? Are you looking at like, you mentioned something about organizing a group trip. Are you looking to do more of that or doing more like brand collabs with like other travel creators? Tell me more.
Oh my gosh, it's something I probably should think about too. I think for me, it's I want to grow the travel business side. I think I'm right now. I'm at the point that YouTube makes me a little more money than my travel business. The travel, yeah. However, you are again at the algorithm's whims. We saw what happened. With when Instagram changed some things around and people's whole lives were rocked. And it scares me to think like, what if YouTube were to change tomorrow? I don't feel like I'm like, ooh, I would be out. Yeah, I don't even want to think about it. So I do want to grow the travel business side of my channel a little more. And the whole hook for that is just basically there are people who just literally need that one-on-one guidance in regards to creating or putting their trips together. Again, you only have that one or two, trips a year, making sure you're picking something that is in line with what you want to do is you're gonna have a good time. So I think that's definitely what I want to grow, like not necessarily like a bigger, subscribers. So definitely working on the business aspect of diversifying your portfolio, of I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
have all my eggs in the YouTube basket. Most of my eggs are in the YouTube basket right now. So I definitely want to kind of build out like what are my other streams of income, but not just about my pocket. I know that streams of income is helping people in the sense of if my business is growing, that means somebody's having a good vacation or I'm inspiring someone to go finally travel on their own. So those are, I think that's where I see, I guess the immediate would be that. And then of course, like building up on that like whole group space meetup kind of thing. Because again, sometimes it just helps for somebody to know, oh, there will be a group of like-minded people on the ship while I'm on this ship, which is pretty significant in the travel space. Of sometimes people are like, oh, I've only cruised Royal Caribbean and Carnival, and it's like, oh, well, can I introduce you to Virgin Voyages or can I introduce you to Norwegian? But just knowing that there's somebody on the ship that they can be like, oh, I didn't like that, or what's in the buffet, or how do I navigate this? Like those are the things I eventually want to move. But I think right now it's definitely diversifying those streams, building out a newsletter. Those are the things that I want to kind of focus on, getting my infrastructure, my business a little tighter. That patent and trademark situation, need to do that. You
I
did?
did that. I
Okay,
did that.
good. I can lean on you. Did you do it
Yes.
by yourself or did you do the whole, like, I gotta get a lawyer, da, 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 did you do
So
that?
I did it through a platform. So you pay a fee because I'm big on services, girl. I'm big on services. You paid a fee, you submitted all your stuff,
Okay.
and it does the whole process for you for the trademark office. So I got Pink Dollhouse Marketing registered
Good.
because everything that lives under Pink Dollhouse Marketing, including me as a content creator, is protected
Good.
essentially. So
Yeah.
that
I
was the
think
goal.
what got me into the whole thing about trademark spaces, I created a series of conversations. I'll put it like that. And I use a term, and at first I was gonna get the term trademarked. I'm like, wait, you can get C it with C trademark first. So yeah, that's helpful. That's good to know.
Mhm, mhm. And then while you were talking, my marketing brain was going off.
Mhm.
I had inspiration, right?
Okay.
So what I'm thinking, and this is what I see in my head, work with me here.
Okay.
While I take a sip of my coffee.
I'm pulling the line.
Okay, work with me here.
Mhm.
So I worked in tourism marketing for 5 years, right? I worked in specifically marketing for CVBs, or as they're known as convention and visitors bureaus. Those are essentially, y'all, for those who don't know, the people who bring all the cool stuff to your area. Like if there's a huge conference, if there's like a huge fair or like big event, usually
Mhm.
the CVBs are the ones who are involved. During my time with the CVB, we work a lot with travel buyers and also people who were travel writers and things like that. I think for you, there are a couple areas you can explore. There are a lot of travel conferences, including one that happens here every year in DC called the Travel and Adventure Show.
Mhm.
They're always looking for people to be like speakers about things that their areas of expertise in. There's opportunity for you to go into the speaker area and leverage yourself as a thought leader. For those who don't know, get your pen and pencils out or paper or your iPad, whatever you're writing with.
Mhm.
A thought leader is someone who leverages their career expertise and they take it from their core area, which may be their 9 to 5, and then they take that out into speaker area or workshops and they share the experience with a broader group who may be interested in the same thing or hearing their story, right? So there's opportunity there for you to enter the speaker circuit as a thought leader. The other thing I thought about too, in diversifying your portfolio, you have the YouTube channel, you mentioned the newsletter. There's also an opportunity for you to collaborate with these cruise ships to do content for their blogs. In writing blog content that can be used for them to include in like press releases or rollouts promoting their new cruise ship. So you can pitch with your media kit. If you don't have one, I would suggest you get a media kit. I suggest you get a media kit. But in your media kit, you can include what services that you offer. So when you pitch to them, they can see proof of performance of what you've already done in different spaces. And then when you set up meetings, you can come to them with ideas for stories. But a lot of times the marketing team already has something in mind because they may have a project that they're working on.
Mhm.
So those are two opportunities. One, the speaker circuit as a thought leader, and the other one is doing specialized content for the travel industry, whether it's through their blogs or maybe doing co-created content in which you take over their channel and you do something especially for them to use in upcoming rollouts and promotions. The last thing I had in my mind, you mentioned growing your travel piece of your business. You can always also too sell your itineraries or travel packages as just one flat rate fee. Like if someone's trying to figure out, hey, I don't know how to book XYZ, you can literally spell it out for them in a document and sell it for one flat rate, and they can go through everything themselves like a step by step instruction, almost like a consultation without you having to spend the actual time with them, during that time. So you can sell it for like, okay, 4 day trip for here, is $75. You get all the information that I know and how I book my links and all the other stuff, and they could do it themselves. So those are the things that I think about in my head, and
Yeah.
that can live on your website where all you do is have the packages behind that paywall of the information and you just update it. Like, here's your cruise category for the top countries I've been to. Here's your land category. Here's your this category. And it's up to them to do with that information what they like to do.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yvonne, where can they find you for like marketing consults, girl? I know you sell that service. Let the people know.
So, funny thing is, I do offer consultation for Pink Dollhouse Marketing. In my day-to-day job, Carlene, I work as a senior marketing manager in science. So, I do a lot of strategizing all day long. Oh, yes, the person you see on social media, that's not my full-time job. This is my creative outlet and the
Yeah.
way I'm building myself as a
I heard
thought
you say
leader.
science, and I was like,
Yes,
science
yes.
is under attack at the moment, but
But I think those are things that you could explore and, just something to think about. So let's get into our sip and spill quick fire questions because I just want to hear your opinion on a couple things. Now, remember, Carlene,
uh-huh.
Carlene,
Carlene, just Carlene. Mhm.
CC,
Yep.
car. Anyway, it comes top of the dome. Okay.
Don't think about
Stand 10 toes down
it. All right.
about your answer. Don't be switching up at the last minute,
Okay.
okay? All right. First question. In your opinion, who is the best rapper or singer of all time?
Erica Badu.
Oh, that is the first time I've ever heard that answer. Okay. Does she do Bag Lady? Is that her?
She's Bag Lady. The first time I ever saw her in conference, it felt like a conference concert. It felt like a good like Sunday service, like a church.
Mm.
I came out feeling refreshed and restored. So
Okay. She be wearing them hair wraps too, like
Erica,
it gives very much like na, 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 just like a vibe. Like she got just the incense on stage kind of energy. Okay, now you are a cruiser, but if you had to live in any city for a year, where would it be and why?
Cape Town, South Africa. Great wines, great sunsets.
Okay. South Africa is on my list, as well as Ghana and Morocco. So
Hmm.
I'm starting to add my African countries list. Africa is a continent, but it got countries in it, people.
I
Okay.
did a whole live stream fuss out of people, and they were just like, because I'm like, everybody's like, we want to cruise to Africa, and I'm like,
Which country?
yes.
And, we're adults, right? Life can be a little stressful. If you've had a long day, what is your go to comfort food for the day?
Italian.
Ooh, is it lasagna,
It's gonna be
spaghetti? What
a
is it?
spaghetti. It's gonna be a good raggedy old spaghetti. Yep.
Okay. Oh, spaghetti is everybody's cheat code bag because
Yeah.
if you got some turkey burger in the freezer,
You always got pasta noodles, and
you
it
always
doesn't matter. You can use elbow. You can do whatever is in there. Egg noodles. You always got noodles.
you always got noodles. And if you want to make it a little razzle dazzle, I like to put diced tomatoes in mine, but I don't have time to cut them up. I just get the can and I pour it in with the sauce and
And
you
fun
know.
fact, spaghetti and mashed potatoes are like my comfort food when I'm traveling. So at some
Mm.
point in a any trip, I'm gonna probably have to have like a thing of spaghetti or some mashed potatoes. The most exotic spaghetti I ever had was Zanzibar. Had a little
Mm.
like twang to I don't know, a little spice, a little extra
Uh-huh.
situation going on. It was amazing. And they were looking at me like, why are you ordering spaghetti at Zanzibar? It's my comfort food.
And and if it's your comfort food, you stand 10 toes down about your comfort food.
Yeah.
For me, I love mac and cheese, good macaroni and cheese. I love a good mac and cheese, and I love a good chocolate chip cookie. Now, I'm very particular about my cookie. It has to be this way. It has to have the little crispy edges,
Okay.
like the little crispy right there. And then it got to be soft in the middle, not doughy. It has to be soft.
See, you sound about them cookies like people sound about pancakes. Do you feel the same way about pancakes? Crunchy on the edge, soft in the middle?
Yes. Yes. Because when I break it, I don't want to hear a crack. You know what I'm saying? I already got braces, so I need to like
Moist.
just yeah, and I need an even chocolate to cookie ratio. Don't over chip my cookie.
Mm-mm.
Cause then we just having chocolate. I needed a break and little morsel and little crispy crunch. That's all I want. All right. And then finally, if you were a coffee, what kind of coffee would you be?
Black with a capital B.
I know that's right. I know that's right. You better be black and strong.
Every morning I have 2 10-ounce pours of just coffee black.
You are brave.
It's weird. I got into coffee when I was working on my dissertation, so I needed coffee. I was like,
Time out. Pause. You a whole doctor?
yes, I can't save you, but I can research stuff.
So you a PhD doctor?
EDD.
Don't we try? Look,
I still had to write a dissertation. That thing, woo, Jesus.
y'all get on my nerves with that. You a whole doctor,
Yes.
okay? You don't ever downplay that doctor. In fact, don't let me when this episode when I publish it.
Mm-hmm.
I will put doctor in front of your name. Don't play with me. I will do it.
I will take it.
Okay, because
I don't
that is
pull
an
the doctor
accomplishment.
card too much, but every now and then I like to, slide it in there.
Ma'am, I'm currently working on my master's degree. Okay, let me tell you something right now. Thank you very much. I'm in my second semester and it's being paid for by my job. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
I got both of my
Free
papers.
tuition.
There is money out there, people. Don't pay for them
Period.
degrees. Don't pay
Period.
for them degrees.
Okay, period. Let me tell you something when this master's degree is finished. Don't let me get a shirt saying I've mastered it.
Yes.
Okay, I've mastered it across my chest because I will be telling the world that I earned this degree. Oh my goodness. Okay, anyway, thank you so much for joining me for coffee today. How can people find out more about you and your platform?
Yes. Well, my biggest platform is you can find me on YouTube. It's See It with C on YouTube. So that's where you can, see all my travel videos. If you heard me talk about South Africa, that's there. You heard me talk about all these cruises. They're there. And then like if you're kind of like, what's she doing from day to day? Pop over to Instagram. And I See It with C on Instagram as well. And if you just want to like chat, like, hey, reach out, like, I'm thinking about booking something, email me at seeitwithc@gmail.com. The website's being developed. It's coming along. You can go to seeitwithc.com. It'll be saying construction, but eventually it's going to have a little razzle dazzle.
Little razzle dazzle. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Mm-hmm. And the fact that you are building out your website, very smart. People do not take the opportunity to build another platform outside of their social media. Mm-hmm. I always say, if social were to shut down tomorrow, where are they gonna go to? Mm-hmm. They gotta go somewhere. I thank you so much for joining me on my show today. I really appreciate your time. And for everyone listening and or watching, I hope you enjoyed today's chat. Don't forget, you can follow Coffee with Yvonne on Instagram and Threads at Coffee with Yvonne. You can sign up for my newsletter to get personalized audio and video content, Coffee with Yvonne podcast episodes, and marketing magic breakdowns for your favorite campaigns that I do not talk about on social media by visiting the show notes. For my personal account, where I be cutting up every now and then, it's okay because we got balance. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok, aka the Clock app, at Yvonne_creative marketer. To learn more about me and my business as trademark and registered, you can go ahead and go to pinkdollhousemarketing.com, or you can follow me on Instagram at pinkdollhousemarketing. You can slide into my DMs. That's cool. And creatives, as I say each and every week, remember to keep showing up, keep creating, and that your voice matters. I cannot wait to chat with you soon, and I'll see you next time on Coffee with Yvonne. Okay, bye! Yay! That was fun. Coffee with Yvonne is produced and edited by Yvonne Pearson. Coffee with Yvonne is created by Pink Dollhouse Marketing. You can catch the latest episodes by subscribing to Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts.